What's going on, everybody? I'm Zach Ryan. I'm here with Jose Otero, and as you can tell, we're here at E3. We're going to take a little time to talk today about a game that I'm excited for. I know Jose is excited for it too. Shenmue III. The other day at Sony's press conference, they finally came out and announced that they were looking to help get Shenmue III funded. And it's kind of come with some mixed emotions for me. Yeah. On the one hand, very, very excited to see the end of this story.
Absolutely, yeah.
To hang out with Ryo again, of course. But also, I think there's something a little hinky about the way that Sony has kind of gone about it. I feel like they have sort of used Kickstarter as basically a marketing platform, kind of gauging fans' interest in a Shenmue 3, not reboot, but getting this project off the ground, you know?
I mean, I think there is some truth to that to a degree, right? I mean, Shenmue, among fans, passionate fans at that, Shenmue is one of those games that Part 3 has been so sought after for years and years and years. People were hoping that Sega was going to do it. People were hoping that a publisher would come to Yu Suzuki's rescue. And at the end of the day, you know, I think that passionate fan base sometimes, and I'm one of those fans, forgets that Shenmue was probably the most expensive disaster of its time.
Yeah, I think
that doesn't mean that it's
nostalgia.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that a third chapter doesn't deserve to get made. I would never say that, but I would try to remind folks that, you know, unfortunately, video games up until Kickstarter have hinged on the fact of being a business and people looking at some of these projects and saying, well, we don't think this is going to make the investment back for us. And that sucks, because at the end of the day, we want these games. I do see your point about Sony sort of using this to get Shenmue attention versus helping to fund it themselves.
Yeah.
But I think as a platform holder and as a publisher, I kind of don't blame them, because you're not quite sure if the vocal audience that has wanted this game for so long is in fact going to show up and is going to be able to make your money back on what it costs to get that game made. You know, Shenmue 3 is kind of a unique case in that way.
Yeah, I guess my real issue with the way that they did it was kind of, you know, they parade Yu Suzuki out on stage at their press conference and they say, we're so interested in helping this game get off the ground, but they don't formally come out and say that they're going to back the game at that point. And then if you go to the Kickstarter page, their stretch goals are like, some of them were like Spanish subtitles. It's like, they're like, really? Like, you know, so it just seemed a little hinky. The way that they did it.
I think that's fair feedback, and you know, hopefully, I mean, it is the fastest Kickstarter to be funded in its time. I mean, it got to 1 million ridiculously fast.
It's well above 3 million
and
now.
I definitely do want to see that game get made, because Yu Suzuki too. Like, let's take a minute to talk about that. I mean, this is an icon for the video game. This is a prolific creator from the Sega's heyday, especially in the arcade era. You know, back when Sega and Nintendo were battling, to some degree, it was Miyamoto versus Suzuki, and it was a lot of, you know, ingenuity and a lot of great ideas came from those two creators specifically in Japan, among with others, but those were two of the biggest names, I think, of their day. And after Shenmue, and you know, sort of how that ended up, Yu Suzuki kind of faded out of, you know, the video game spotlight. And for fans who really wanted to see a third chapter, I played Shenmue 1 and 2.
Sure.
You know, the first one on Dreamcast, the second one,
Xbox.
I actually imported it and then also played it on the Xbox, because I mean, I had to find out.
Sure.
And the second game, to some degree, had more problems than the first. But I still wanted to see what this big vision was for this open world, you know, free reactive eyes entertainment.
And the ending of the second game too. I mean, 14 years. Almost is a long time to wait to find out how that story concludes.
Yeah, so I just hope that at the end of this, though, the tail end of this, a year from now, we're not saying, well, Shenmue 3 got funded, but they need more money, or Shenmue 3 got funded, but they've run into some struggles, because that seems to be a big part of what's happening with Kickstarter lately, too, just in terms of these very big projects, ambitious projects, can sometimes slip, just like any video game can slip when it's being published, you know, funded by a publisher. That happens. But I am really happy to see Yu Suzuki have his moment, and I am really happy to find out that Shenmue is going to exist. I think it is a shame that Sony didn't have a more active role, but putting Yu Suzuki on center stage during E3 is
a big tip of the
pretty
hat.
big favor to ask of any publisher. And the only thing I would kind of caution people is just to kind of look at Sony's announcements as a whole. And maybe Shenmue doesn't deserve to be part of those, because Shenmue, I think, at the end of the day, like, I don't even know if that's a PS4 game. Like, there's so little details about what that game is going to be, and it's going to take a while before it becomes that.
Sure.
Let's be fair.
I mean, we've waited 14 years at this point.
Yeah, so I think we're going to be waiting
more.
16.
Could be.
See you in 2 years.
But what do you think about Sony and Shenmue 3? Let us know in the comments, and for all things Shenmue, E3, and Yu Suzuki, keep it right here, the IGN.